You've been to countless speech therapy appointments, you've practiced sounds at home, tried every technique the therapist suggested, and spent countless hours and thousands of dollars. Maybe you even had tongue and lip tie revisions for your little one, yet your child is still struggling to communicate, still plateauing, still frustrated. You watch other children, their age, chattering away while your little one remains silent or difficult to understand. And you can't help but wonder, what are we missing? Here's what no one is telling you. Nearly 1 in 12 U.S. children ages 3 to 17 have experienced a voice, speech, language, or swallowing disorder, and the vast majority are receiving the same traditional approach that focuses on the output, the speech muscles and sounds, while completely missing what's happening with the input and coordination in the brain and sensory nervous system. The real problem isn't that your child needs more speech drills or muscle exercises to fix the output. The problem is that stress and interference within their nervous system is disrupting the very foundations of how speech develops and functions. Speech delays and other communication challenges are most often an input and processing problem way more than an output or an expression problem, which is why traditional speech therapy and other classic interventions alone may not be enough for your child to get the results you want badly for them. So, we're diving deep into the 3-step neurological process of speech development and function, and revealing how subluxation, nervous system dysfunction, and vagus nerve interference create the perfect storm for speech delays. You discover why addressing these root causes through neurologically focused care can unlock breakthrough progress that traditional therapy alone often cannot achieve. So let me tell you about Cohen, whose transformation perfectly illustrates what we're talking about. Before finding neurologically focused chiropractic care, Cohen had a severe speech delay with difficulty initiating sounds and very little sound production. His parents were struggling to find support beyond speech therapy because everything they read stated that Cohen's struggles were neurological in origin. And there must be some way to stimulate his nervous system, they kept asking themselves. So, when they found a PX doc, the scans revealed exactly what they suspected. There was a disconnect with how Cohen's nervous system was processing information and coordinated actions like movement and speech. His parents said looking through his scans and talking with the docs, it all made sense why he was struggling and why progress had been very slow. And then came the breakthrough. About 2 months into neurologically focused care, it seemed like a switch flipped for Cohen. He started producing way more sounds than before. He began initiating sounds and words on his own without prompting from others. And lately, he has just been talking away. Today, Cohen has gained about 3 years of progress in just 3 months, and is finishing speech services having met all his goals in record time. So, let's break down how speech actually works from a neurological perspective. Speech production is a complex, sequential 3-step process that most people don't understand. First, the sensory and auditory signals are received by the brain, which is the input. Then the brain processes and integrates this information, integration, and finally the brain sends coordinated signals to speech muscles, which is the output. While most people assume speech delays stem from muscle problems in the output stage, the real issues typically occur upstream in the brain and nervous system's input and integration phases. When subluxation and nervous system dysfunction interfere with these early stages, no amount of muscle exercises or speech drills can fully compensate for the neurological breakdown happening in the brain. So let's talk about understanding the subluxation and its impact on speech development. Subluxation refers to a misalignment, reducing range of motion, and neurological interference within the nervous system that disrupts the brain-body communication pathways. This interference affects nerve signals, controlling speech muscles, leads to difficulty in motor planning, apraxia, and creates abnormal muscle tone and coordination issues in the mouth, face, and respiratory muscles. Birth interventions like forceps, vacuum extraction, and C-sections can physically injure the delicate upper cervical area and brainstem regions that house critical nerve controlling speech and communication. Now, the vagus nerve controls the vocal cords through its recurrent laryngeal branch, and dysfunction leads to problems with vocalization, pitch, volume, and speech clarity. Proper speech production requires precise coordination of breathing and swallowing, both of which are directly influenced by vagus nerve function. And when the vagus nerve is dysfunctional, it dysregulates the autonomic nervous system and stress responses, keeping children stuck in a fight or flight mode, which further exacerbates speech and communication problems. Our approach begins with identifying perfect storm triggers in a child's case history, particularly birth trauma and early life stresses that create neurological dysfunction. We use advanced insight neurological scans to precisely locate and measure subluxation and nervous system dysfunction that conventional providers cannot detect. Speech delays often aren't about tongue or mouth. They're about the nervous system's ability to properly coordinate the three-step process of input, coordination, and then expression of speech. Chiropractic care works to restore the connection and efficiency of the pathway so the kids can find their voice, get more out of speech therapy, and get back on track developmentally. If everything we talked about in this video sounds all too familiar, and you'd like to learn more about speech delays, the insight scans, and how to address the neurological root causes your child's speech therapy may be missing, click the link in our bio, comment below, or send us a DM.